Ladies and gentlemen, members and friends of the People's Action Movement.
Don't say Pam, just say unity. Hell no!
East Bastia, are you ready for me? I will see to it that East Bastia must be counted. We will put on our hats and we will put on our walking shoes and touch every single household, every alleyway, hear from our people and let them know what we are about. Let them know what Natasha Gray Brooks is all about. Putting people first.
Isaac Pam, Sean is my leader, and me ain't changing. So I reaffirm my commitment to this great party, the People's Action Movement. I reaffirm my commitment to Team Unity, and I pledge to continue to keep the promises that I made. I don't care who they send in Central Bastia, Central Lock.
A convention to reflect, to think. Somebody said to talk the truth. Talk the truth. Talk the truth.
Yeah.
And I said to you, my brothers and sisters, my friends, my family of Pam, choose hope over despair. Choose unity over division. Choose inclusion over exclusion. Choose servant leadership over dictatorship. Choose integrity over dishonesty. Choose the People's Action Movement in this constituency.
I have seen this young man from humble beginnings in Sandy Point at work, both in opposition and in government. And I say today with no fear of contradiction that Sean has kept the promise.
We have a leader in the Honorable Sean Richards. He held the fort, strong and fearless, when he stood alone in opposition in Parliament.
My one inspiration going forward is to ensure that the gains we have achieved over the last 7 years are consolidated, preserved, and built upon. We stand here today on a proud record in government. We have achieved many things in your name. We shall move forward and on our feet and not on our knees. We shall be fearless and we shall be feared.
We have been running the breakfast program for a number of years now. I'm here at the Tyrrell Williams Primary School. We also run our breakfast program at the Berkshires High School. In fact, on any given morning, we would have maybe between 100 and 150 young persons coming to the breakfast program, ensuring they have a good first meal before they get to their schoolwork. Normally we would have eggs, sausages, of course the bread with peanut butter and jam sometimes. So we change it up every day and give them something different every day as it comes. The program was not my brainchild, but the brainchild of a constituent who came to me and saying that there was a need to be filled in the community. And so I got a team together, a team of volunteers. And so there's a team of volunteers who come out every morning from about 6 and prepare the daily breakfast for the kids. I think it's one of the most rewarding and satisfying and gratifying programs that I run in this community. And it has served us well for a number of years. The children come out, they come out very early. In fact, some come out as early as 6:30, 7 o'clock to partake. And so I'm grateful for all of those who would have helped over the years, whether in cash, in kind, whatever it is, and in volunteering to do something that is really meaningful in this community. I'm really very happy that we could begin the process of starting back up the HARP program again, which is my homework and reading program in this constituency. We had decided to hold back a bit since COVID, and we've now begun the process of reviving it since we're getting better at the COVID. What it really is that it is now brought together over 50 young people from the community who need help with homework, who need help with reading, who need help with math, and whatever the form is, to ensure that they keep current and really on top of their work. It's an excellent program. We have about 16 teachers who have come and volunteered to help these students. And so it's really heartwarming and heart-rendering to see the children coming out 3 days a week to enhance their skills at school, and which obviously will make a better community. So I want to thank all those teachers who have volunteered to give up their time and their energy without reward, but just to ensure that the community advances in a special way, and our students are on top when it comes to their work. So I want to thank them for that.
My name is Mendicia Mash. I'm the coordinator of the homework and reading program in the communities of Challengers to New Guinea. Now, the purpose of the homework and reading program is basically to assist parents with their children at afternoon. Sometimes children have homework for days, and because the parents are so busy, they don't get the opportunity to help and assist their child with the homework. So this is where we come in, since it is our endeavor to have some of the most wonderful adults present to society when the time arrives. We have about 50 children and counting, and basically every day a parent call to sign up a child. I had one parent call today to sign up a 4-year-old to prepare for kindergarten because they find that enough is not being done and they don't have enough time. And the program is not just about academics. We include the sports, we include survival skill sets like fishing, agriculture, farming, computer, swimming. We have a whole line of activities and events planned for the children, and like I say, it's all just to help to mold them and bring them into some of the most wonderful people in the Caribbean. To be quite honest, I am very biased about this, and I want the children of Constituency 4 to be the best in the entire region. I'm very sorry, but that is exactly what it is for me.
This evening, myself, Azad Gums, Minister Grant, and Chelsea Williams will be going to challenge us. This is in celebration of PAM's 57th anniversary constituency there. So we're going to meet and greet the constituents of constituency number 4, and we're going to give them just a brief talk on calendars from the Honorable Minister Lindsay Grant.
Grant for sure in number 4, especially challengers.
Ladies and gentlemen, members and friends of the People's Action Movement.
Don't say PAM, just say unity. Hell no!
East Bastia, are you ready for me? I will see to it that East Bastia must be counted. We will put on our hats and we will put on our walking shoes and touch every single household, every alleyway, hear from our people and let them know what we are about. Let them know what Natasha Gray Brooks is all about. Putting people first.
Isaac Pam, Sean is my leader, and me ain't changing. So I reaffirm my commitment to this great party, the People's Action Movement. I reaffirm my commitment to Team Unity, and I pledge to continue to keep the promises that I made. I don't care who they send in Central Bastia, Central Lock.
A convention to reflect, to think. Somebody said to talk the truth. Talk the truth. Talk the truth.
And I said to you, my brothers and sisters, my friends, my family of Pam, choose hope over despair. Choose unity over division. Choose inclusion over exclusion. Choose servant leadership over dictatorship. Choose integrity over dishonesty. Choose the People's Action Movement in this constituency.
I have seen this young man from humble beginnings in Sandy Point at work, both in opposition and in government. And I say today with no fear of contradiction that Sean has kept the promise.
We have a leader in the Honorable Sean Richards. He held the fort, strong and fearless, when he stood alone in opposition in Parliament.
My one inspiration going forward is to ensure that the gains we have achieved over the last 7 years are consolidated, preserved, and built upon. We stand here today on a proud record in government. We have achieved many things in your name. We shall move forward and on our feet and not on our knees. We shall be fearless and we shall be feared.
We have been running the breakfast program for a number of years now. I'm here at the Tyrrell Williams Primary School. We also run our breakfast program at the Berkshires High School. In fact, on any given morning, we would have maybe between 100 and 150 young persons coming to the breakfast program, ensuring they have a good first meal before they get to their schoolwork. Normally we would have eggs, sausages, of course the bread with peanut butter and jam sometimes. So we change it up every day and give them something different every day as it comes. The program was not my brainchild, but the brainchild of a constituent who came to me and saying that there was a need to be filled in the community. And so I got a team of volunteers. And so there's a team of volunteers who come out every morning from about 6 and prepare the daily breakfast for the kids. I think it's one of the most rewarding and satisfying and gratifying programs that I run in this community. And it has served us well for a number of years. The children come out very early. In fact, some come out as early as 6:30, 7 o'clock to partake. And so I'm grateful for all of those who would have helped over the years, whether in cash, in kind, whatever it is, and in volunteering to do something that is really meaningful in this community. I'm really very happy that we could begin the process of starting back up the HARP program again, which is my homework and reading program in this constituency. We had decided to hold back a bit since COVID, and we've now begun the process of reviving it since we're getting better at the COVID. What it really is that it has now brought together over 50 young people from the community who need help with homework, who need help with reading, who need with math, and whatever the form is, to ensure that they keep current and really on top of their work. It's an excellent program. We have about 16 teachers who have come and volunteered to help these students. And so it's really heartwarming and heart-rendering to see the children coming out 3 days a week to enhance their skills at school, and which obviously will make a better community. So I want to thank all those teachers who have volunteered to give up their time and their energy without reward, but just to ensure that the community advances in a special way, and our students are on top when it comes to their work. So I want to thank them for that.
My name is Mendicia Mash. I'm the coordinator of the homework and reading program in the communities of challengers to New Guinea. Now, the purpose of the homework and reading program is basically to assist parents with their children at afternoon. Sometimes children have homework for days, and because the parents are so busy, they don't get the opportunity to help and assist their child with the homework. So this is where we come in, since it is our endeavor to have some of the most wonderful adults present to society when the time arrives. We have about 50 children and counting, and basically every day a parent call to sign up a child. I had one parent call today to sign up a 4-year-old to prepare for kindergarten because they find that enough is not being done and they don't have enough time. And the program is not just about academics. We include the sports, we include survival skill sets like fishing, agriculture, farming, computer, swimming. We have a whole line of activities and events planned for the children, and like I say, it's all just to help to mold them and bring them into some of the most wonderful people in the Caribbean. To be quite honest, I am very biased about this, and I want the children of Constituency 4 to be the best in the entire region. I'm very sorry, but that is exactly what it is for me.
This evening, myself, Azad Gums, Minister Grant, and Chelsea Williams will be going to challenge us. This is in celebration of PAM's 57th anniversary constituency there. So we're going to meet and greet the constituents of constituency number 4, and we're going to give them just a brief talk on calendars from the Honorable Minister Lindsay Grant.
number 4, especially challengers.
Good night, everyone. Members and friends of the People's Action Movement, fellow villagers of Challengers and Constituency number 4, those of you who are listening by way of radio and internet. Palmites in the house. Good night. Come here. Yeah, again, the chair. We want to begin this evening our first town hall meeting in 2022 following our convention with a word of prayer by Sister Glendora Fraser. Glorious.
A blessed good evening once again, all. Let us all reverence God in prayer, please. Most gracious and eternal, loving Heavenly Savior, Father, as we humble ourselves before you tonight in this first series of Town Hall meeting tonight, mighty God, we bring the head table before you. We bring the leader and the deputy leader of this great party. Mighty God, we lift up the People's Action Movement before you. Father, as we lift them up, we place their fight into your hand. For you say, if we fight and you are not in it, we will fight a losing battle. So tonight, mighty God, we place you forefront, we place you ahead of every fight that we have to fight. For you say, he that buildeth a house, and you did not build it, the builder only build but in vain. But Father, tonight, we introduce you tonight and we invite you tonight in this town hall meeting. Father God, we ask for your protection, we ask for your covering, we ask for a smooth and a peaceful town hall meeting. Lord, we pray for those who are on the way. May you hasten their footstep. May you give those who are traveling mercy. Mighty God, may your Holy Spirit guide and protect tonight. Let everything done in order and in decency into your favor and into no other name but in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Lord God, we place everything into your hands tonight. Have your way. Let your will be done, dear Lord. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Thank you, Gloria. I want to also invite our studio guests to play the national anthem as we start, and so I'm going to invite all of you to stand. Thank you. Please be seated. Leader of the People's Action Movement, the Honorable Sean Kenneth Richards, Parliamentary Representative for Constituency number 5. The Honorable Lindsay Fitzpatrick Grant, Representative for Constituency number 4, and the Minister of Tourism et al. The Honorable John L. Powell, Minister of Education et al. And Representative for Constituency number 2. At the head table with us, I see our Deputy Chairperson of the People's Action Movement, Mr. Azad Gums. Oh, yes. Other distinguished ladies and gentlemen in the audience, good night again. Good night. 3 weeks ago, we held our 57th annual convention. Our 57th annual convention of PAM was held in my hometown, Keyon. And it was, from all accounts, one of, if not the best convention held by the People's Action Movement in 57 years. We happened to be in government in a coalition of PAM, a coalition of PLP and CCM. PAM, however, is the oldest party in this coalition, the strongest party in this coalition, and of course contributes to all of the major decisions of the government that benefit the people in our country. Let us give PAM a hand for that. We command the majority of seats, and in every decision benefiting our nation's people, we adopt putting people first. And so every decision we make, you will notice that the decisions we make are not for the purpose of benefiting ourselves, but benefiting those who support us throughout this country. We have made decisions, for example, of double salary. When you have 5 double salary in 7 years, it is the decision of the People's Action Movement in that team unity administration as well. It is a way that we ensure that at Christmas, persons who have worked hard during the year do enjoy themselves at Christmas. You heard our leader earlier this week speak about step workers regularization. When we meet and make a decision about step workers regularization, it is because the majority party in the government teams with our fellow colleagues and make the decision to help for the step workers. This is a decision which is collective, but the People's Action Movement, as you know, has 4 members in the government and has the majority making this decision. When you hear about PAP, when we began PAP, you had never heard about PAP before. But when we started the PAP program, $500 per month for families with income of $3,000 or less. It is the People's Action Movement, 4 of us who were in Parliament at the time, 4 of us in the Cabinet who joined together to deliver PAP for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. During the period of COVID, we made the decision to pay $1,000 a month for the months of April, May, and June in 2020, and again in September of 2020. And in 2021, we supported the decision of additional funding for persons in January, February, March, those who were still out of work in 2021. We went further and we supported food packages to those who were in trouble, having difficulty at home. We provided food packages from Social Security, and they were distributed through the Ministry of Social Services. We are currently embarking upon a program of entrepreneurial training for women. So far, through my Ministry of Social Services, we have trained over 100 women in at least 3 disciplines so far. The last one, which was done on Sunday, the graduation, provided certificates for those persons who have been trained in how to be hairstylists, fashion models. Those persons have benefited from the work of PAM in conjunction with the Taiwanese, from the work of the government in conjunction with the Taiwanese. We are persons who were trained, some of them, 10 of them, on Sunday, 10 of them in the second cohort, and 10 of them in the first cohort. So 30 persons so far, women, young women, have received $8,000 grant because of this program, which is shepherded by the People's Action Movement in the Team Unity government. I don't think I will speak all here now because I'm cheering, so I'll get an opportunity to come back in again. But my task now is to therefore welcome all of you. Yes. Welcome you to this town hall meeting and trust that you will ask important questions that will provide information for you to use when you're in your constituencies to get people to continue to support the People's Action Movement. With those few words of introduction and at least part of my stewardship, I will invite, is it Cheryl? A young lady who will do a poem? Shamel. Shamel will do a poem for us, and then we'll get right on into a program after that. So Shamel, will you come forward, please, and do the poem that is scheduled now? Is Shamel Drew? Oh.
Good evening, everybody. The poem is called The Champion Man. G, good, great, gigantic, a giant of a man, an exceptionally good representative, his service top tier even when unplanned, unparalleled development in his community, in his work he takes pride. This champion man reaching his constituents far and wide. Ah, radical, rambunctious, refreshing, reaching far. Though a simple lifestyle he does lead, the champion man is one of a dying breed. The projects he starts always sets the bar, inspiring other communities, those near and those far. A, available, awesome, able-bodied, appreciative. For over 20 years, he has fought with his team, from tough to unfair to biased to mean opponents. And natural, making a lot of necessary moves. This champion dancer with his dance moves Approved. Champion, champion man. N, national pride. Natural, necessary. His work in tourism is his trademark development galore. Caribbean Tourism Minister of the Year, our rep from constituency number 4. Our natural champion minister, whose expertise we do need. His necessary breakfast program, our students to feed, our champion man. T, timely, teacher, tough, tremendous. He is tough to brave the hard SKN crowd. His demeanor and tact, not loud, makes us proud. A champion lawyer, a champion lad, a champion leader, a champion dad. Grant, the champion man, the champion for our community, the champion for Pam, a champion man. Grant.
Thank you, Shermel. Let us give Shermel another round of applause. And let us not forget those who were demonstrating with the placards or the cards which show Grant. Let us give them a hand as well. When I spoke earlier, I indicated how the People's Action Movement in what is our Team Unity government have been delivering for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. The People's Action Movement, I repeat, has the strongest team in the government. The People's Action Movement is at the decision-making table of all these important decisions that you think and see are benefiting the quality of life of people in St. Kitts and Nevis. Let's make no bones about that. This is not about any other decision maker which does not include PAM. The People's Action Movement is right there, helping, directing, and determining the decisions that make life better for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so for those who might feel that it is only one person doing it, or other people doing it, let me tell you, the People's Action Movement is right in the middle of the decision-making process. PAM is in its second term. PAM is in its second term. And in the second term, we look forward to the next period of years, 2-3 years, and we look forward to a third and a fourth term. And in those terms, and in those third and fourth terms, I am confident that the People's Action Movement supporters will go out and vote strongly, because we know in those 2 terms, PAM would be ready to lead the nation and put our esteemed leader as Prime Minister in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We have made a lot of promises, and we want to deliver on those promises. And I want to give the Honorable John Powell an opportunity now. John, prepare yourself. An opportunity now to speak to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and speak to this town hall meeting and give an account of his stewardship and how, by electing him, your life is better because of that. So John Powell, as you know, is only in this thing for 21 months. He has plenty to go and plenty to offer. So I invite him now to come and share all those good news with you. John, you're up.
Members and friends of the People's Action Movement, good evening. Good evening to those of you who are present with us here in Challenges tonight, and to all of you who are either viewing us online or listening to us on the radio. It is a pleasure to be here with you again as we continue on our road to keeping the promise. And that is exactly what the People's Action Movement is about. And I want to pick up from where Eugene would have left off. We are part of the Team Unity Administration. And just by its very name, it is based on the principle of teamwork. No one person is responsible for all the good things that you see happening in this country. It is a team effort. And so, while we are here in Constituency 4 tonight, you would have elected, as you just heard, a champion of a man in Lindsay Fitzpatrick Grant. But Lindsay is only one person. Lindsay can't build house, pave road, build school, fix play fields all by himself. And that is why he has a team to support him to deliver on the promises that he made to the people of constituency number 4. And so, when you see houses built in Conyers, and I know they're planning to start those in Challenges just now, he has the support of the Honorable Eugene Hamilton. And when you see the roads being fixed here in constituency number 4, you know that he has the support of the Honorable leader of the People's Action Movement, Sean Kenneth Richards. And when you see the improvements being made in the schools here in Constituency 4, and to the play fields and sporting facilities in Constituency 4, you know that he has the support of me, John L. Powell. And when you hear about an increase in salary for civil servants, you know that we were all in cabinet when the cabinet of your government made that decision. And so, it is a team effort. But I am here to speak to you briefly about what has happened within my portfolio, but as it reflects on you in Constituency 4. And this ain't my government here, this is our government, this is your government working for you to keep those promises. And so I start off with education. And as the Minister of Education, as you heard, only 21 months. When you hear people talking, you think I was in there for the first term. But I believe so much has happened in the last 21 months. I have given them the opportunity to think I was there forever. But when you look at what has happened in terms of education in this country, people ask, well, what are they really doing for us? What Grant doing for us? Well, Grant is a part of the team that has not only managed the COVID pandemic in St. Kitts and Nevis so well, better than probably anywhere else in the Caribbean. He's part of a team that has allowed for our schools here in St. Kitts and Nevis to remain open more than any other country in the Caribbean during the pandemic. And what does that mean? That means that you had to stay home from work to stay home with the children less than anybody in the Caribbean. It means that your children have had access to school and to education more than any other country in the Caribbean. That is what Grant and this Team Unity administration, of which we PAM are part of, are doing for you by ensuring that despite whatever pandemic comes, your children get a quality education. And so when you look at the improvements that we've been able to do to the schools right here in constituency number 4, the Virchilds High School has benefited from $30 million from the CDB in terms of building out and upgrading the TVET centers. And when I say TVET, I mean the home economic centers, the woodwork centers. All of those technical areas have been built out under this administration and to the benefit of the children and students here in constituency number 4. We have an expansive program for the Tyrrell Williams Primary School, where we will be undergoing some significant improvements. I know, like all the other schools, it's difficult managing them, but we have a program, and you will see that program being built out to make those little but significant improvements to the Tyrrell Williams Primary School. And what does all of this mean? It means that your children can succeed. It means that they can excel. And that is why, just yesterday, the Virtuals High School was able to celebrate the graduation of the 2021 class. And I want you to put your hands together for those young people. Because I could tell you, when I went to school, the most you could do was 9 subjects in school. But when you look at the fact that in Virtuals High School, you had 10 students gaining at least 10 O-level CXC passes, something good is happening in the Virtuals High School, and something good is happening in constituency number 4. And I say a minimum of 10, because you had people like Daquana Adams, who got 16 subjects. Put your hands together for Daquana Adams. And I want you to give a big round of applause for the valedictorian, Mr. Oren Brunder, who also got 16 subjects. If his mother is here, make some noise, mommy. Congratulations to you. And talk about opportunity for young people. The youngest ever appointed principal to a high school in this country in 28-year-old Miguel Thomas, overlooking all of that. That is what you call delivering for the people and creating opportunities for young people right here in constituency number 4. And what about sports? Just last year, and on the promise of the representative for this constituency, Lindsey Grant, we saw the renaming and upgrading of what was then the Virtuals Playfield to the Samuels Williams Playfield. Put your hands together, because that's another promise that was made and another promise that was kept. Named after Mr. St. Clair, Monty Samuels, and Mr. Vincent Williams, 2 stalwarts of the sporting industry here in this constituency. And when I say upgrade, I don't mean a little bit of upgrade, The Samuel Williams Playfield can boast the best lighting system in this country. A full LED lighting system at the cost of some $1.5 million invested in you, the people of constituency number 4. And we go down to halfway tree. And everything can happen at the same time, We do it in phases. And so, Mr. Grant has already reminded me, and I see the director of sports in the crowd, that the halfway tree pavilion needs a roof, it needs covering. And so that is to come. That is to come for the people of halfway tree. And as I come back this way, I ain't gonna forget that we've already indicated that we are going to upgrade the basketball and netball courts in Virtuals as well. Because we believe in investing in our youth, the future of this country. And well, what about challengers? We in challengers tonight. Challengers, people, make some noise for me, man. We've already ordered the backboards, the new backboards for the basketball court here, the adjustable ones. I know that there's been quite a bit of up and down in terms of the netball court because of technical reasons, but we're working it out, because you can get your netball court, because Grant says so. And very shortly, the seating will be completed on the pavilion to the side here so that you can look at the football comfortably. So things are happening and things will continue to happen. We made promises and we kept the promises, and we will continue to keep the promises for the people of not just constituency number 4, but the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Youth, we continue to invest in our young people. And so, just last week I would have returned from a trip to Dubai where 19 young people from this country got an opportunity to go and experience the World Expo. You keep hearing about the Dubai, and they say I went to Dubai and Grant went to Dubai. Well, all your young people went to Dubai too. And 4 of those young people went courtesy of their parliamentary representative in Lindsay Fitzpatrick. That is what you call investing in young people, giving them opportunity. And so you can look forward to the upcoming Youth Entrepreneurship Forum, which I'll be hosting as the Minister of Youth. And that is dedicated specifically to encourage and to mentor our young entrepreneurs. All those young people who during COVID, who didn't just sit down doing nothing, who started making a little jewelry here. They started to make a little soap there. They started to plait here and cook food. Well, we're putting on a forum just for you. Having people come and talk to you and mentor you on things like managing your business, how to go about getting loans for your business, and where you can access grant funding for your business. And I'm sure at some point, Eugene Hamilton will tell you about the grants for female entrepreneurs made possible through the Republic of China and Taiwan. And so you will have the opportunity to access all of that. And before I go, I had to talk about culture, because Constituency 4 has been known to produce some of the best culture, some of the best folklore that we've seen in this country. And I don't just mean Small Axe Band. And so you can look forward to the next Cultural Corner, which is a quarterly event put on by the Department of Culture to take place in the historic village of Old Road, where we will be acknowledging some of the cultural icons that hail from that particular village. And so, members and friends, these are the things that I have been working on in partnership with my team here within the People's Action Movement and within our Team Unity Administration, your Team Unity Administration. Because it ain't my government, It ain't Sean government, it ain't Pan government. It ain't Timothy government, it ain't Mark government. It is your government. And you must demand that your government keeps its promises. So when people want to come conveniently and jump up and go on with all kind of things, remember that you put us here to do the job for you, to keep the promises. And you're going to hold us to the promises. Not no Johnny come lately. You're going to hold us to the promises because we have delivered for you. And so I want you to continue to support the People's Action Movement. I want you to continue to support Team Unity. And I want you to continue to support your parliamentary representative, a champion of a man, Lindsay Fitzpatrick Grant. Grant for sure in number 4. Good evening.
Boy, Jonathan, I didn't realize you were taller than I. Come on, folks. General just made a powerful presentation. Let us give him another applause. I want to assure you, Minister Powell, of something which will happen in your constituency shortly. I haven't told you yet. So when I'm telling you, I'm telling them too. There's a place in New Road called the Family Park. You all know the place? Yes.
It has become dilapidated and it needed some work. Let me tell you, Jonel, that my ministry has just got approved $350,000 US to replace all them things up in the park. Remember you came to me and told me, Minister, those things in the park need to be replaced. I said, I know, yeah, but you know, we were going through COVID. But I can tell you now, watch in the next few months, you will see. Family Park will be refurbished, and Jonel, you can take that little child I saw you bouncing on your shoulder the other day to the park. You want to be the security? We will continue to deliver the promises that we made to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis as we go through this second period, this second term in office. Some of those things, of course, include the Bastia High School. Look forward to that. Some of those promises, of course, include waste to energy project so that we can provide from that plant energy, even satisfying the needs of those tourist boats. Some of those programs include, in my own village of Kayon, making sure that the water is available to the people in Upper Kayon. And I want to tell you that that promise also includes the delivery of what I have described to you as universal health coverage. Now, sometimes when I speak of universal health, it seems a bit abstract to some of you, but I need to say something about it because I want you to understand. No one sitting here tonight knows what their lot is tomorrow or whenever, whether by accident, incident, or just normal sickness. We walk around and we look good, all of us, but we don't know what can happen tomorrow to any one of us. And I know that you know that there is someone in some family near to you, if not your own family, who you've seen suffer as a result of illness. If I'm wrong, tell me wrong. But you know, when you get sick, it costs plenty money to get you back on your feet. By way of example, let me tell you, for example, to do what, if you have kidney problems, just treatment of kidneys, just that treatment in the hospital could cost you $120,000 a year. Which of you, which of us can personally dig into their bank account and find $120,000? And that is why I speak about universal health. And I want each of us to spread the message and embrace it. Embrace it because, one, when you get sick, while it is good to visit you at the hospital and say, how are you? And I hope you get better. It costs more than a penny because you have to pay doctors, you have to pay for the services. And I want to tell you, I have seen a young lady from Needmust Estate, 31 years old, bright like a flower, and such a blooming flower at 31. Whittle away and die just because of cancer. Without an opportunity to get treatment, that is what you face. It is why I speak about universal health. I'm speaking important business. I'm speaking about important issues. it makes no sense for us to make light of this important issue. The day is going to come this year when I will appeal to this country to make their contributions towards universal health. Because the day you end up in some institution, whether here or overseas, money start to spend. And I can tell you, I have the Ministry of Social Services. And sometimes I have to find $5,000 and $10,000 to send people to Barbados and elsewhere just to get treatment. And sometimes that can't even cover it. So I'm saying, let's take this thing seriously. When I'm speaking from this platform of PAM, or speaking from the platform of the government, I'm speaking because I feel in my heart that it is my duty to make sure that the people of this country I have a lot of things to say. Lots of things to say. But this is not my show. I'm only steering the ship. Tonight's show is a show for the man who the world, who the Caribbean has said is the best man for tourism in the region. And so I want to invite him. But in doing so, I know that you know. I know that you have a man who works hard. I know that you have a man who delivers for the children in this constituency. I know that you have a committed man, a man who is not afraid to put his hand in his pocket. Tonight I will invite him. I will invite him tonight to speak to you, to energize you, to let you understand what he has done and what he plans to do. So let us welcome the representative from constituency number 4, the Honorable Lindsay Fitzpatrick Grant.
Members, friends, supporters, well-wishers of the People's Action Movement, a pleasant good evening. Tonight is really your night. But before I begin, I want us to have a moment of silence for the persons who have departed from this life to the next one from this constituency. But more specifically, 2 persons who would have passed just recently, Pearline Williams, and we have to big up the sons of Whoopi and Brett for taking good care of her during her lifetime, and also Milton Osborne, who passed just recently, and his daughters, Judy and Sherilyn. So let us have just a moment silence before we begin. Thank you. Thank you. Tonight is your night, as I have said. You have at the head table, and let me first of all welcome my political leader, our political leader, the next Prime Minister, the Honorable Sean K. Richards. Then we have the chairman of this great party, the Honorable John L. Powell. We have also with us our deputy political leader, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton. And our deputy chair at the table also, Mr. Azad Gums. Now, I want to welcome all to this town hall meeting this evening. But really and truly, this town hall meeting is your town hall meeting. Because we want you to share with us your concerns. We want you to do it in a respectful manner. Because we are here to answer your questions and your concerns. I come here tonight really and truly not just to tell you about my stewardship in constituency number 4, but I also want to tell you about the vision that we have for constituency number 4 and the country as a whole. You see, when I got into Parliament in 2015, I was very, very clear what we needed to do. We got an opportunity again in 2020. But you know, over the last 2 years, we had the pandemic, which really curtailed the development not of only constituency alone, but the country at large. I don't go around talking about myself and what I do. But because maybe some people, not many, talking about what has been done, I want to tell you tonight the kind of things I did do. You see, because some fly-by-night people who come here looking noticement. I have been here in this constituency when the People's Action Movement had nothing and we were plodding away. I have been here since 2000 plodding away, and I will continue to plod away for the people of number 4. Because you have given me the opportunity. You have given me the opportunity to go to Parliament. I could not go to Parliament if you ain't send me to Parliament. And so on the next occasion again, I want you to put me there, because there's unfinished work that we have to do. You know, I started a breakfast program in this constituency. And you see, the breakfast program was not my idea. The breakfast program was the idea of a constituent who came to me and said to me that there was a void, there was a need to be filled in the constituency. Because the young people at the very tender age in the Tyrrell William Primary School were coming there not having had breakfast. Not having had breakfast. I did not even know really that was the condition until the person came to me. So I started a breakfast program. The government didn't start the breakfast program, you know. It's I, Lindsay F.P. Grant, representative for number 4, started the program. And I started that program. And as I said, I ain't going to be long today now, because tonight is your night. I started that program expecting to have 25 persons partake of the breakfast every morning. 25. Right now, you know the number? The number is over 100 young people every day coming to Tyrrell Williams to have breakfast. The program has been so good that they reached out to me from the Virtuous High School and said they wanted me to do it at the Virtuous High School. So I'm now doing it for about 25 at the Virtuous High School. You see, we are performing in this constituency. We are performing in this government. But sometimes they blame us because we don't bang with chest enough. We don't shout enough about the things that we do. And everybody getting up and saying they do this and they do that, when in fact it's the People's Action Movement doing it. So I want to tell you, be focused. Be focused on the job that we have to do. So that's my breakfast program. I ain't going into the detail. I want to tell you, not me again, but the young people through me have started a HARP program, H-A-R-P, a homework and reading program. We had to cut it off. We had to stop it in terms of the numbers. Because when the number got to 60, Mandy told me, Mandy said, Master, tell me, Mr. Grant, we can't go no more. 60. We only have 16 volunteers to deal with 60 people, so we had to cut it. You understand representation in this constituency? And their talk? See, representation ain't mean you got to bang him out all the time. But I want you to get the information. So when they start to talk, you have the information in front of you to deliver to them. And while I'm at this, I want to thank those 16 volunteers who come out 3 times a week to make sure that the young people in this constituency are better grounded than they are right now. Give them a round of applause. I come into that. You see, because I come into that every Saturday. Every single Saturday, without fail, we make sure that the young footballers are fed. Over 40 of them, every Saturday. Grant again. Not Harris again, yeah. Grant again. And so we do that. Every single Saturday we do that. Every single Saturday we do that. And I tell you, I want to thank my colleague, Jonel Powell, because he has now ordered the backboards for the Challengers basketball court here. But what he forgot to tell you, that along with the new backboards that are going to come is the resurfacing of the basketball court right here in Challengers. Right here in Challengers. And I want to give you a story too, you see. Because they said tonight is my night. Not too long, but my night. You see this here? You see this facility here? You see this facility here? I wonder if Austin is anywhere in the crowd. I wonder if Austin is anywhere in the crowd. Because Austin could tell the story about this facility better than I can. Because I was not yet a parliamentarian. I was in England. Austin called me. We started this to the tune of $15,000. And when the then government, Labour government, realized that they were failing the people of Challengers, that Lindsey Grant had to dip in the pocket to start this to the tune of 15,000. They run couple of years and they finish it. But I tell the challengers people, I don't care who finish it. At least we start it and make sure they do it. But guess what? But I want to tell you, we have much more to deal with it, as the minister tonight outlined to us here. And you see, I had a program to come called the Kalinago village, Kalinago, from our indigenous persons who are here, where the bloody river come out of and all that. A wonderful program I had, because that Kalinago village, when I finished with it, would have employed about 20 people from the Challengers area. I've been fighting with it for the last 3 years to get some people, maybe they got the O, I don't know, that's the O. You understand? To get that village going so we could have trails. 20 young people here could make some money out of the tourism industry. But I'm going to tell you, when Sean K. Richard becomes the next prime minister, that Kalinago going to have to come down. I want to say to you, we have always been a government. We have always been a party that what? We have always been a party that put people first. I understand now some people want to come and thief with slogan, which we got since 1964. Since 1964, we're talking about putting people first. It is only one party in this country put people first. It's the People's Action Movement. We put people first. You know they're talking. The Minister of Sports said it here tonight. The Samuel Williams playing field or sporting complex, which was the Virchild's playing field, has the best lights in the entire federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. But Grant ain't doing nothing. Grant ain't doing nothing. I put roads in Virchild's. I put roads in Virchild's. Gloria, you could tell you, because the road passing your house in Virchild's. I put roads in Harry Phipps. And here we're going on. When they brought the budget for the roads in Harry Phipps, you know what I tell them? You know what I told them? I tell you, I said, let me tell all you something. I did get 98% of the votes in Godwin Gut, and we ain't gonna pave Harry Phipps if you ain't pave Godwin Gut. I said, I don't care where you find the money from. Find it, because Godwin Gut must be paved. And so I'm so happy. I'm so happy for the people of Godwin Gut now. They could drive on a brand new road rather than a dirt road that have down there in Harry Phipps, in Godwin Gut. In all road, you realize I have done phase one of the fishing complex in all road. Minister Harry, Eugene Hamilton, phase two of all road is coming, and it's coming under the government of a People's Action Movement led by the Honorable Sean K. Richards. I'm coming to Africa. We have plans for Lamberts. We have plans for Lamberts. We have plans for Lamberts Green. We have plans for Halfway Tree. Again, because I will tell you, Halfway Tree, you need a road in Green Acres. I know that. And for challengers, I want to say to you tonight, next week, you will see the bulldozer rolling through at Stoneford Heights to begin the new road for Stoneford Heights. You see how much things we do? You see how many things we're doing? I want to say to you that you have a government working for you. But I want to tell you something. Because every day, as I go through the constituency, my constituents arguing with us. Arguing with us. Maybe right, maybe wrong, I don't know. But I'm going to tell you a story. Why they arguing with us? Because they say the honorable leader of this great party said some things at the convention. And they're arguing about the fact that the honorable leader said some things at the convention and why he never talked them things before. Well, I'm going to ask you something. If a woman married to a man, or a woman have a man, I'm talking serious business. I'm drawing an analogy so you could understand. And when the man come in the house every day, he take off his pants and the other pants and he throw them on the floor. And the woman come and say, Lord, honey, man, put away your pants and your underpants now. And she tell him today, come back tomorrow, he do the same thing. She say, honey, man, I tell you, next month, same thing. Next year, same thing. The year after, the same thing. And next year. I mean, it's only so long she could take it. But the thing about it, you can't bring out your dirty laundry out in public so. Just so. Eh? If a man in the house and the woman bite him, you might take 3 bites. You might take 3 bites. But when you reach like 5 bites, you say, I make out tell them all. Can't take them all them bite there. So, by that analogy, you understand what I mean? Me ain't saying nothing else on that. I done. But you know something? I think about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I don't even know. Look, we do so much work in this party, singularly, that's by ourselves, and collectively. But we don't talk about it. You know, we don't talk about it. I mean, donations to Old Road Health Center, donations to preschool, donations here, donations there. Because we deal with putting people first. That is what we are about. We continue to do that. You understand? And I want to say something because in challenges, it is important for me to talk about housing. But I want to talk about it, or I direct the question them to Honorable Eugene Hamilton. Direct the question to him. But what I'm saying to you in challenges, we've had our difficulties, colleague Hamilton, with providing houses in challenges. Difficulties. Year after year after year, we've had our difficulties. When it ain't the technocrats telling us we can't build here because of the water, is access to get to the land over people's land, and they don't want to do that and they want a lot of money for it. But we talk about keeping the promise. We didn't tell you the promise can come tomorrow. We did not tell you the promise is going to come next week or the month after. What we said to you, if we promise you something, bet your life we are going to give you. We are going to deliver it. And so I want to say to challengers tonight, that we've solved the problem with land access or whatever in challenges, and very shortly, we are going to propose ourselves to build the houses in challenges. Long overdue. I will not say to you tonight that we had under our allocation 18 houses for challengers. Well, challengers, you realize you ain't get 18 houses. I ain't going to tell you where the 18 houses gone. I ain't telling you where the 18 houses gone. I just know challengers ain't get 18 houses. I mean, instead of free either. Instead of free either. We have done something down in the old road bay. You know, we built a brand new road. They installing the lights now. But I want to say to you, we have a plan for old road bay. Have a plan for it. And the plan for it is we are going to make 5 more entrepreneurs in this constituency. Because it ain't only Basta could have the little strip. Ain't only Sandy Point can have the little strip. All we can have this strip too. So your strip is coming. I am going to end now. I have a lot more things to say. But I want to end now. Because I want you to ask your questions for us to answer them. That is what we are doing. We are going around the entire country to feel the beat, feel the temperature of the people. Let them ask the questions and we deliver for you the answer. But one thing you can rest assured about, we are going to answer you truthfully. Sometimes the truth hurts, but we are going to answer you truthfully. Truthfully. And as I take my seat tonight, I want to thank the good people of number 4. Because you've stood with me. You've rallied with me through thick and through thin, in good times and in bad times. And constituency number 4, I don't care who they bring. I don't care who they bring. I don't care how many they bring. It's licks, 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 and more licks in this constituency. Good evening.
Constituency number 4. Let us say it for your man, for your representative, Lindsay Fitzpatrick Grant. You all ready? No gimmicks? No Let us thank the Honorable Lindsay Grant for that presentation this evening. And what he has declared, you have heard. He don't care who they bring, he says. He will, what do you say, give them licks? Give them licks. When I began earlier tonight, I told you of the role of the People's Action Movement in the last 7 years in delivering for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Every major delivery, every major event, every major promise, every major deliverable that has redounded to the benefit of people has been done, strongly supported and recommended and delivered by the People's Action Movement candidates. It is true we are in a coalition with 2 other parties. So together, we delivered for the people. It could not be done without the support and initiatives of the People's Action Movement. The People's Action Movement is led by the Honorable Sean Richards from Sandy Point. I can give you a chance to say it. Come.
Yes, P. Best be my relative, Sean K. Richard, our next Prime Minister.
There you go. I don't know his name, but let's give him a hand. When in 2004, the elections were called, Pam had no seats in Parliament. The People's Action Movement came out of the 2000 election without a seat. And in 2004, the people of Sandy Point rallied with the Honorable Sean Kenneth Richards, and he became the only PAM representative in Parliament for the next 5 years. And I recall Sean's presentations in Parliament in opposition. In fact, I do recall at one stage he had the entire government running around like chicken without head. You remember the $40 million mistake? Oh, the $40 million mistake that they could not understand. The Minister of Finance then somehow seemed to be lost over $40 million. He didn't make up any figure. He was just talking the truth. But that put Sean Richards on the stage, made people in this country understand that here was a man who had the capacity to lead. Fortunately or unfortunately, only one more PAM seat was added 5 years later. I came and joined him in 2010. And together with Attorney General now, then Vincent Byron, we held the feet of the Labour Party to the fire. In fact, I will go further to say that when I won in 2010, the Labour government was so rattled that they appointed the Prime Minister and they couldn't appoint anybody else. He left and went to Africa. Remember the days when he was talking about running the country on a BlackBerry? That's what happened in 2010. And then we came on to 2015. And in 2015, partnering with other partners, we formed the government. And we are still in government 7 years later. And we intend to be in government 15 years from now. The Honorable Sean Richards has said to you, and you all know, because it has been said publicly by more than one person, that the next Prime Minister is the Honorable Sean Kenneth Richards. And we know that that is a promise that has to be kept. And so we look forward to the day when the Honorable Sean Richards is Prime Minister. But for now, the Honorable Sean Richards has a lot to talk about in delivering the promises he made to the people. And so he will take us through those promises and tell the country why and how it is important for them to have the confidence in him as the next leader of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let us welcome the Honorable Sean Kenneth Richards.
Members and friends, members and friends, no gimmicks, no gimmicks, next election, very good. Tonight, as I begin I want you to give a round of applause to the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, who has been doing an excellent job in chairing this meeting. As Eugene pointed out to you, he has been in Parliament since 2010, giving sterling representation to the people of Constituency number 8. I like to hear that you are not going to stop giving your support to the Honorable Eugene Hamilton. So indeed, since 2010, I am grateful for the support that I have been getting from someone who I consider to be a friend and a colleague in the person of Eugene. Some of you may not know that in 2012, it was Eugene and I who ran for the political leader of the People's Action Movement. And though I won by 1 vote, I can never ever say to anyone that Eugene has not been there providing significant support to myself. And so I am very grateful to Eugene for that support that he continues to provide. Equally so, I wish to acknowledge the Honorable Lindsay Fitzpatrick Grant. Lindsay took over the leadership of PAM way back in the year 2000 and so he and I basically became candidates at the same point in time. When Lindsay began his stint on the political platform, it is the very same time that I began my stint on the political platform. We both contested our first election back in 2004. And though he wasn't successful then, he continued to provide support to myself and to all of the other candidates of PAM throughout the years that he led the People's Action Movement. Today, he's still here. And today we are happy that at no point in time he gave up, because the best representation that you have ever received in this constituency has been from none other than Lindsay Fitzpatrick Grant. As a matter of fact, the only representative that ever won this constituency by almost 400 votes is none other than Lindsay Grant, and that says to me the confidence that you have in Lindsay. You have seen the work that he has done in this constituency, and you have rewarded him significantly, and I have no doubt that whenever the next election is called in this country, it will be Grant again, Lindsay Grant for sure, in constituency number 4. We have also at the head table the Honorable Jonelle Franchette Powell. Jonelle is the youngest amongst us, and he likes to speak about the fact that he is the youngest. But with youth also comes vitality, and that is exactly what you get from Jonelle. A young man who has come to you with a lot of energy. A young man who continues to deliver on behalf of the people of Central Bastille, because that is where his heart is. I remember when Jonelle came forward as a candidate, I said to Jonelle, why Central Bastille as opposed to East Bastille? The reason why I asked him that question is that when you look at the trend over the last 2 or 3 elections before 2015, when he contested for the first time, the statistics showed that East Bastille was narrowing in terms of the results between PAM and the Labour candidate then. I said to him, Jonelle, the East Bastille seat will be an easier seat to win than the Central Bastille seat. He said he's not looking for an easy seat to win. He wants to run in the constituency that has nurtured him, the constituency that he grew up in, and this is the constituency he wants to represent, the constituency he wants to give back to. He wasn't successful in 2015, but he came back in 2020, and the people of Central Bastille rewarded Jonel, and today Jonel is living up to keeping the promise for the people of Central Bastille, and so he continues to deliver handsomely on behalf of the people of Central Bastille. Tonight, I also want to thank all of you for coming out to this town hall meeting, the first of a series here in Challengers Constituency number 4. In particular, I want to say a very special thank you to all of the young people who are here with us this evening, because as I look around, I recognize that we have a significant number of young persons here tonight. Of course, Cindy said I'm welcome. So I don't know if she's saying it on behalf of the young people or she's saying it on her own behalf because she feels that she's still young at heart. And her husband Tony is there sitting down next to her. So Tony can best tell us whether or not Cindy is still young at heart. That is why she's young. Thank you. I also recognize a number of stalwarts who are here with us this evening. I see Dr. Charles Warner, a former candidate in constituency number 3. Number 3. I see persons like Slybon Kemper, who has led the fight on behalf of Pam right here in constituency number 4. I recognize persons like Bucky, one of the local persons in this constituency who is here sitting up front giving support. I want to welcome Austin, because Austin has been a fixture in constituency number 4 over the years, giving support to Pam in this constituency. Austin is a man, when he sees things going wrong, he will always call and give his viewpoint as to how things can be done better and how things can be done differently. And so we say a very special thanks to Austin. Although he's not from this constituency, I also want to say a very special welcome to Carlton Lickybud DuPont. Many of you would not know that when I ran in 2004, I had 2 opponents in constituency number 5. I had the then representative, Jacinta Henry Martin, and I had Lickybud also as a candidate to contend with. But I told both of them, no matter what, Sean sharing licks. And so Carlton got licks, and Jacinta got licks. But Carlton now is a man. He has appreciated the fact that I have provided the best representation in that constituency, and that is why he continues to give support to myself. Thank you, Lickybud. So I thank all of you for coming out here this evening. But tonight isn't about speeches from us, the members of parliament, from the People's Action Movement. Tonight, we have come to listen to you, the people. In recent weeks, especially leading up to and during our highly successful convention, which was held on the 13th of March, you heard a lot of what we had to say. And that convention was sweet, sweet, sweet. Up until now, people still talking about the convention. Some other people had something called a convention. And the day after, not even a soul talking about it. Not a soul talk about it. I don't know what it is they had. But tonight, we have a lot more to say to you. A lot that we are going to say to you in the coming days and the coming weeks. Tonight, however, the focus is on all of you. We in the People's Action Movement, we have decided that it is an important time for us. A time for us to become active, and a time for us to dialogue with you, a time for us to speak with you, to hear from you. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear your criticisms. And we want to give you the answers to your questions. St. Kitts and Nevis at this point in time is at an important juncture in its history, where we believe that the gains of the last 7 years must absolutely be protected. Jean told you that we are part of a team unity government. And Pam continues to play an important and pivotal role in that government. Pam has delivered for the people against many odds. Readily comes to mind is COVID-19. But Pam, as part of Team Unity, continues to deliver on behalf of you, the people. Just Saturday of last week, I spoke to you as the political leader of PAM, as a member of parliament, and I made a new commitment relative to the step workers and the government auxiliary employees. PAM will ensure that without further delay, that those two classes of workers, that they are taken care of. You have been waiting long. You have been waiting for far too long. And it is time for us to upgrade your status of work so that you can receive all of the relevant benefits just as the other pensionable civil servants. Our focus, however, is not just on STEP and the government auxiliary employees. Our focus is on all workers within the public sector and on all persons here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. That is why Jean spoke to you about national health insurance, because while government employees are covered by insurance, we do believe that all of the people of this country must also be covered by health insurance. No longer must you or your children go around with a sponsor sheet asking persons for financial assistance when you need medical attention. We are also aware that there are still many things that we need to do as a government. And it is my considered view that the things which we still yearn for can only be achieved through real unity. Again, I said to you, and as I promised you, just as I did at the convention, that PAM will ensure that there is stability and continuity in this country. We will work with the coalition of the willing to ensure that there is real unity with real benefits for all of the citizens of this country. However, while we are at the level of leadership, we have our own ideas. We also think that it is important to you because we know that you also have ideas and we want to hear your ideas. The People's Action Movement has been a champion of unity throughout the history of this country. It was the People's Action Movement in 1980 that preserved this Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis when we had the first collision in this country between PAM and NRP. Going back to the days of Sir Kennedy, our first leader, our first prime minister, our only living national hero, coming forward up until now, we have been at the vanguard of every major push, every major development in this country. Whether you want to look at Port Zante, Southeast Peninsula Schools Feeding Program, Self Program, Citizenship by Investment Program, not a single government which has come after has been able to get rid of them, because each and every single one recognizes the importance of those programs. That is the vision of the People's Action Movement of PAM, a vision that we will continue with in government. We have consistently fine-tuned the template to meet with the realities of times and the willingness of genuine partners. The time has come again for us to work together as both party and people. The time has come for me to say again to all of those who have strayed from the People's Action Movement to come back home. Come back home to the People's Action Movement. We want you back home with the People's Action Movement to share in the ideas, to share in the growth of the party, but most importantly, to share in the development of this country. And so we want to have a discussion with you as to how to consolidate this genuine unity movement. Understanding that the dreams and aspirations of our people should never, ever be sacrificed. This is a defining moment, and all of the patriots of this country must rise to the moment. Sometimes when we think of patriots, we only think of the politicians. We only think of persons who have served as prime ministers. But there are many local patriots in this country. Lindsay spoke about his reading program. He spoke about his breakfast program. And so you have patriots who have risen to the occasion right here in this constituency. Persons like Mandisi are part of the reading program. Persons like Sharmel part of the reading program. Persons like Keithroy part of the reading program. Persons like Meadow part of the breakfast program. Persons like Don part of the breakfast program. Those are the true patriots of this country. Those are the persons who get up every single day to ensure that the less fortunate amongst us, that they are taken care of. And so I want you to give them a round of applause. We're in PAM. We are determined to show the way forward, and we are determined to provide critical leadership at this juncture. We, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, we have a common history. We have a shared desire to succeed, and that is why we continue to lead the rest of the Caribbean. It is not simply about those who are in charge, but all of us who have that desire to succeed. And so we put our hands to the plow and ensure that this federation succeeds. And so I want to say thank you to all of you for bringing your hands on deck. We as a government, we have a duty to provide the leadership, and PAM intends to and has been doing just that. The challenges which face our country, they are not challenges which can be solved by any one individual. The need for growth and empowerment cannot be sacrificed on the altar of personal ego. Cannot be sacrificed on the altar of personal ego. St. Kitts and Nevis doesn't belong to any one individual. It belongs to all of us. We, all of us, must have a say in the future, in the direction of this country. The future is not only for Pam, but it is also for the supporters of Labour. It is for the supporters of PLP. It is for the supporters of CCM, and it is for the supporters of NRP. In essence, the future of this country is for all of us, every single one of us. But the future that we aspire to, the future that we dream of, cannot be achieved without the essential element of trust. Because it is only if we trust each other, we can work with each other. We can work honestly and honestly with each other if we trust each other. Therefore, in our view, we shall not resign ourselves to a fatalistic opinion of keeping the status quo. It cannot be business as usual. When better can be done, and when real unity is needed, we must be prepared to preserve that real unity and to earn that real unity. I want to assure all of you that PAM will ensure that there is stability in St. Kitts and Nevis and that our economy is in no way affected. That is why, in the first place, we have chosen to come back to you. And tonight's meeting, as I said, is the first in a series. Because on Thursday, we go to Dorset in Central Bastille. And next week, we will move to 2 other constituencies. We are coming face to face with all of you, the people in the different communities. We could have chosen to go into an enclosed building tonight. But we said, no, we are going to come in the open where all of you can feel comfortable coming. So if you don't want to come in a yellow shirt, where you want to come in your ordinary shirt, you want to come as a CCM, you want to come as an NRP, you want to come as a PLP, or you want to come as a Labour, you can come and you can be part of the discussion. And that is why we have chosen to come to you in an open up place. And that is why we have chosen that for Central Bastille, we're going to Dorset Park. Your representative in this constituency is the Honorable Lindsay Grant, a colleague and one of the deputy political leaders of this party. Lindsay Grant has achieved a lot on behalf of you, the people of constituency number 4. And many times when he has achieved, he has done so despite the odds. I have sat with him in cabinet. I have sat with him at meetings of PAM. And I can testify firsthand that he's a fighter on your behalf. He has a passion for the people of constituency number 4. And that passion, it continues to burn and it continues to shine brightly. He has achieved much, but I know he isn't satisfied with what he has achieved to date. He wants to do more. He has the passion and the drive, and he's eager to deliver for his people. Together, we must do all that we can to lift up the Honorable Lindsay Grant. You must protect him in this constituency at all costs. Together, we must give him every support that we can to ensure that he is in a position where he continues to keep every promise that he has made to the people of this constituency. He has given you promises about roads, and he continues to deliver on the roads in this constituency. He has made you promises about houses in this constituency, and he continues to deliver houses for you. He has spoken about the netball court, and I know when I was Minister of Sports, on almost every single occasion, he reminded me that a netball court is needed here in Challengers. And I know he's still pleading with Jonelle to get the netball court here in Challengers. He has come to cabinet, and the only reason that you don't have the musical studio in Virtuals as yet is because he hasn't gotten the financial support in cabinet to build the musical studio down in Virtuals, where he already identified land to build that musical studio. That is the only reason why you haven't gotten the musical studio. He has said to us that he has already gotten the container that will be retrofitted for the studio. He has said to us he has already gotten the necessary equipment that he needs for the studio to be built. It is only because he hasn't been given the financial support. And I said to you, the people of this constituency, that if Sean Richards was Minister of Finance, you all would have done get your musical studio in this constituency. Because the studio is about the development of young people. It is not about me not wanting to see Lindsay have a musical studio because none in Sandy Point. Because I don't need to have everything in Sandy Point. Because once one is in constituency number 4, whether you're from Sandy Point, you're from Tabernacle, Kayana, wherever you're from, you can utilize that studio. And so he has my support. And I said to you that Lindsay Grant will get that studio for the young people to develop their musical skills in constituency number 4. Because it is needed for the young musicians in this constituency and throughout the length and breadth of St. Kitts and Nevis. He's a short man. He's short in terms of height, but he's very tall in terms of performance. Very, very tall in terms of performance. I'm sure when he goes to meetings for the ministers of tourism in the Caribbean, he's the shortest minister of tourism. I'm sure he's the shortest one. Lindsay, you're the shortest minister of tourism, I'm sure. He said, yeah. But guess what? He was voted the best amongst them. Voted the best amongst them because he continues to stand tall and he continues to keep the promise in this constituency number 4. And so you must continue to give Lindsay your support. Yes, there are continuing challenges, but there is also a determination that I have not seen before coming from you, the ordinary people, to rise above all that is in front of us and to create a new path and a new basis for real unity. There must be a coming together of the people, and it must not be based on convenience and opportunism, but it must be based on genuine principles of fairness. Coming from our recent convention, we have been given several mandates by our party delegates. But using that as a basis, we are determined to broaden the national dialogue. That is why we all are here standing before you this evening. I know some of you may be wondering, where is our candidate for constituency number 1, Natasha Shanigre? I take the opportunity to publicly congratulate Natasha Shanigre on the birth of her baby girl just last week. The journal said the name of the baby is Pam Campaign Brooks. So tonight, I am very excited about this session. And I want to listen to all that you have to say. I hope that we can adequately answer all of your questions. Your presence is a clear indication of your willingness to participate in our efforts to further build this nation. We in PAM, we continue to extend an open hand to all of the believers in real unity. And with willing partners, we are confident that tomorrow is ours to behold, and that this moment shall be a petition and a vision moment. It will be a moment for all of the ordinary citizens of this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader Sean. Well, I thought that Sean made more than 100 just now. Well, let us put our hands together for the Honorable Sean Richards. As the Honorable Leader said a few minutes ago, that tonight is your night. It is an opportunity for you to ask your questions and get the answers you deserve. So the mic is right in the middle of the aisle there, and anyone can go to the mic and raise his question. The appropriate person will answer your question momentarily. I recognize you. I recognize you. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Carl Brown here. And good evening to the listeners home and abroad. What I come here for tonight is to put forth a project which is being rejected. I hear from NRP say performance matters. I hear from CCM, people's matters more. I hear from PAM, we keeping the promise. I hear from PLP, we working for and with the people. Well, I am one of the people. And I just recently, last month, retired from the civil service after 27 years and months. Well, one of the things concerning this is, I could take my money, I could buy a vehicle and go up and down with the girls, right? I could go on a tourist ship, I could go on the beach, I could go on a plane and waste my money. I have decided 15 years ago, when I make 15 years in government, that I am going to invest my money when I retire. The 15th of last month made me 55 years. The 7th of last month, I handed in my retirement letter. They have asked me to come back for 2 years, even before they received the letter. Now, the plan I have is, I want to know if all of you at the front table believe in helping the farmers of this country. Any farmers in the house? Herd farmers? Fishers? Anybody doing rabbit? Anybody doing ducks? Well, hear my project, everybody. I am at Pine Gardens. You all know I bought a house there from the government. I have the biggest land in front and in the back. I have written a letter to NHC requesting permission to do business. Last year, November. In December, they call me and tell me I must send a sketch of what I want to do. Me and my architect carry the sketch. 5 weeks and days ago, they called me into a meeting with the board with Miss Janelle Joe, and they sit me down and ask me to explain the project. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the project. I want to put, right there in Pine Garden, a public market in the front by the bypass road. In the back, I want to put a wholesale. I have all of that land. Sitting down with the board of NHC, they are telling me the project is too big. A simple man like me. The board of NHC is telling me the project is too big. Right? Now, hear what is happening. After they speak and I explain to them, all of them decide they like the project. Right? Last week, Friday, I received a call from NHC say, come to collect a letter. This is the letter here, ladies and gentlemen, the board of NHC is telling me the project is on hold. And if I build anything on the existing premises, they will demolish it. My thing is, right? I want to work with the herd farmers by taking all the pork, all the meat kind. I want to work with the fishers, taking all the fish and selling them by the pound from right there in Pine Garden. The people with the ducks, I want to take the ducks from them and sell them. The people with the yard fowl, I want to take them and sell them. The people with the rabbit, I want to take them and sell them. Plus with provision and vegetables and all the tea bush and all the roots and things that you have, the marby backs and all those things. All the people around town you see walking with the kit on the shoulder, selling all the pastries and all those things.
All right, well,
I want to take them from them and sell them.
Okay, fine. So
right? So what I'm asking you guys to do, since we're keeping the promise and people's matters more, I am bringing a project to the government that helping the farmers. The staffing I want to put there is 12 persons that don't have no job since 2019.
Okay.
Right? So I'm asking the government, please to bend the hand of the NHC board to let the project go through to help the whole country, and it's St. Kitts Nevis.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Good night, good night, good night.
Let's be quiet. Let's be quiet. Let's be quiet.
Good night. I want to thank the Honorable Sean K. Richard for acknowledging me in the present. I'm from number 4, and I will always be for number 4. Let me just first say a few things. I personally want to congratulate the Minister Grant for being number 1 in tourism. That is very, very commendable and achievable for him. Now, Mr. Grant is very correct. And he will tell you at one time I pull him up because he's not boasting. But I've told him he needs to be boasting because people don't know what he do every day. Yes, you have to be boasting. When you look at the Old Road Bay, he mentioned the Old Road Fishery. He mentioned about the lights. These are great accomplishments for number 4 that we go a long way. Because no longer can I myself drive and have to be watching up on the hill. I can drive now with a nice view. So you have to give him a round of applause for that. Now, Mr. Grant, you mentioned about phase 2 in the Old Road Fishery. Can you elaborate more about phase 2 and what we in the community can look forward for in phase 2? Because you just say it's phase 2. So I personally don't know the layout of phase 2. Now, secret? Okay. You mentioned houses. There's some house in Conyers that was built a while now. Could you give a definite date? The last time the Honorable Eugene Hamilton mentioned it, it was scheduled for somewhere around the 15th or the 16th of this month. So can we give an actual date when these houses will be given out? We also looking at land distribution, and we know there are problems with allocating of lands. But young people are now moving away from their parents and they want to be on their own. So do you have any areas in number 4 that you see more lands can be allocated for people? Back to the houses. You only speak about challenges. Is there any other villages that you can see yourself building houses? Will these be single home, or were you looking at townhouses like our Eugene Hamilton built in St. Peter's? I will stop here for now.
Yes, Ricky.
Good evening to all. This is St. Kitts Talk Dog.
First, I must congratulate Pam for taking this initiative in coming here this evening. And I'm sending a warning to you all supporters. They must support you all strong. Eugene Hamilton, I've been having some problem with you over the past months. I've been hearing you with Timothy, but every time you talk, you make me feel good. Hold on, you gotta listen to me. You gotta listen to me. Eugene Hamilton, people give me a lot of problems about you telling me you're with Timothy. Well, I know you're with Timothy in unity, but not Timothy unity. I hope not. Because I have found you to be a man of class. I have had many dealings with you. And I've not had many dealings with other individuals as good as I've had with you in terms of uprightness. So I was superbly surprised when I saw you here tonight. Because it's the feedback that I'm getting from people. Sean, I have a couple important questions for you because I don't want to stay long for, I got the biggest program in St. Kitts. Sean, as someone who are very brilliant in finance, I have something important to ask you for the whole world to hear. If you don't answer the way I want it, I will accept it and move on. Timothy Harris is finance minister. Do you have the right as a parliamentarian, as a brilliant accountant, because I know you're very brilliant in accounts, to question him? And does he give you any idea whatsoever about the monies that in the treasury? That's one. And next one coming. Me ain't gonna read nothing off no paper. Sean, I want to ask you a direct question and I'm looking for an answer. Have the Prime Minister ever apologized to you for that nasty, stinking statement that was made last year at a convention in Atlas about somebody saying that loyalty is something good, but has the Prime Minister ever discussed the matter at all with you, Sean, about his regret of such a statement? Because in my view, that was very disrespectful. And even though I was invited by the Prime Minister himself, as soon as the woman said that, I went straight to 90.3 and abused him. Mick Alton. Sean, we are at the most critical juncture in this country. I am saying to you and the supporters of PAM, I'm asking you to encourage Sean to move away from Timothy Harris. Sean, I am a spiritual man. I'm going to come off the mic now. And I am telling you, Timothy Harris don't have no use for you. So the statement that you have been making, I want to congratulate you. And I'm saying to you, in this campaign coming up in the next 3 months leading to election, I with you 100%. Answer me questions.
All right. All right, let's settle down. We have at least 3 persons who raise questions. Carl Brown, Bucky, and Licky Bird. I will invite Carlton Dupont is my... He knows that I know he's Carlton Dupont. He don't mind nobody call him Licky Bird. I'm sure he doesn't mind. Okay. He gone already? Oh. Well, I'll call on, for the first response to Carl Brown would be the Honorable General Powell. After which, Mr. Grant will respond to the questions from Bucky, and then Minister Richards will respond to the question from Carlton Dupont.
Good evening again. You hear me from this mic? All right. All right, so I'll respond to Carl's question. And let me start off, Carl, by saying thank you for your service. 20, how many years?
27 and months.
27 and months. Thank you for your service to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. I am responding to this particular question because Kyle is my good constituent and he engaged me a few days ago on this matter. And so I am in the process of making inquiries as I told you I would do.
I engaged Mr. Hamilton too.
Okay. And
I engaged the Prime Minister.
hold on. I note that you said that NHC said the project was too big.
Yeah.
My understanding is that not that it is too big, but it is quite big for hold on, Carl. It is quite big for where you are living in that location. You live in a triplex. It's one of 3 houses in the building. And so there's very limited space there. Plus, remember we would have discussed that there may be issues in terms of it is a residential area and the ability to have a business of that nature. Now, as I promised, I'm trying to get some information of planning, but at the same time, what I'm also doing for you is I am seeking assistance to see how we can find an appropriate piece of land very close to where you are. Because remember, there was a number of lots that house lots that could not be used because of the well that was found there, very close to where you're living. And so I'm trying to see if we can get a piece of that land which is not able to be used for housing for you to have that business, because I think it's a fantastic business. I think it's a fantastic location, and I know that you will do a fantastic job in serving the people in that regard. And so that is what I'm trying to do to assist you in respect of that. So it's not that the project too big for you, but your project too big for that particular area. But as I said, remember, it's a residential area. But we will work with you to ensure that that business becomes a reality, Carl Brown.
Good evening. Good evening. I think I had several questions from Bucky. Got it? The first one was in relation to the phase 2 of the fisheries in Old Road. What I can tell you is phase 2 would involve basically a marina type development in Old Road, and we intend to put down the necessary structures so that the fisher folks in Old Road will be able to basically gas up their boats, etc., to move from there to do their fishing. As you would recognize, Old Road is a premier fishing community, and we want to get that organized. I must, however, apologize to the fisher folks in Old Road, because if you know you're in the business of media, so you would recognize there is an issue there with regard to ice at the fisheries. That ice has been, the lack of ice, let me put it that way, has been an issue that's been plaguing the community for, I believe, almost 2 years now. And I want to answer you what the problem is, because sometimes people will say, boy, the minister there and he ain't get the thing done so. But so I want to lay it out here tonight what the challenge is and why it has not been done as yet. In fact, that equipment came from, I think, the Japanese. The parts are only available in Japan. I spoke to Mark Williams, who is the head of that area in terms of fisheries, who said to me that when they source the part in Japan, where they can only source it, they got an invoice. When they presented it to the financial secretary, etc., and the office, I am advised that they were told to source it out of some way, or get 2 quotes. And they indicated to that office that they can't get 2 quotes. The equipment, what they need is germane to only Japan. And she persisted on that. The office persisted on that. And so they said, well, we can't give you a second quote. She wants 2 quotes for whatever is necessary. But the real practical reality is that it's only Japan. And so we're stuck with that. My last conversation with him was about, I think it's about a month ago. And he said he's rather frustrated because he knows he don't even want to come into Old Road because he knows he's going to be asked a question. And the question is a simple one. And really and truly, if she authorizes, or the office authorizes, the purchasing of the equipment, the part from Japan, it will be there for the fisher folks. And so, I like how he said, I'm clearing my name tonight on that. And it's a simple process. Approve it and let Mark Williams or whomsoever bring in the parts so the fisher folks in Old Road can get the ice for their fish. It is as simple as that. And I want to pivot off from that. And the point, sometimes we are bogged down by simple little issues, which if people are reasonable, would allow the majority of us to be put in a much better position that we are in. Because it is affecting all the fisher folks in Old Road and the surrounding areas, and it is not right. So that is for the record tonight in terms of that. In terms of any area that we have designated for housing development, we know in the cabinet that housing is one of the most important aspects of someone's life. And everybody is crying out for land and that sort of thing. So we have been looking, we have been scouting, etc. What I can tell you is that last year or the year before, the leader may be able to correct me if it's last year or the year before, we purchased 25 acres in the Lamberts area back from the debt for land swap. So we purchased back 25 acres. And the idea is that we will have 25 more acres at our disposal for distribution of lands in that area, in the area of constituency number 4. I am not certain as I speak whether or not that has been demarcated again and cut up or whatever. But that I would look into to see what it is. But the idea is we are taking back the land, we're repurchasing land to make sure that we have more land available to persons. Eugene Hamilton did a fantastic job in the St. Peter's area, and it's something we may want to consider in this constituency because of the scarcity of land. Whether or not we do the townhouses style development, where we will get more houses being built for the square footage of land. So that is something that we need to look into and determine whether that is the way we should go. You also spoke about land distribution and what is happening in that area. I must tell you that I distributed maybe 2 years ago almost 70 lots of land to young people in this country. And why the focus was on young people? Because I believe young people need to start to own a piece of the rock a little earlier so that they don't have to build houses and look for a house when they're 40 and 50, but they could be well on their way in their 20s and 30s. That's our policy. And so the 70 lots of land I gave out in this constituency to young people, to let young people have an opportunity to start off in life earlier. And so I hope those 70 young people who would have gotten the opportunity to own land just recently would start to do something on their own and develop themselves. So I'm very hopeful for that. What I can say, there are a lot more people who want land in this constituency. And so we have to scout more to see how many more we can give to develop themselves. You spoke about the distribution of the houses in Kanyas. I am advised, so I'm going just on my advice. I am advised that calls are being made starting today. I am advised. Today's Monday, right? Or Tuesday? Monday? Yeah. I am advised that they've begun to make calls to the relevant parties to call them in terms of the distribution of their houses. And so those persons, whoever they are, whoever they may be, should start to get a call sometime this week, over the next couple of days, to determine the way forward. I think those are all the questions you asked me to deal with. Thank you. Thank you for your questions.
Good evening. Good evening again to everyone. I had two questions which were asked of me by Carlton DuPont. The first question he asked was whether or not I have the right to raise questions about monies. I guess he is referring to the finances of this country. In answering that question, I will say to him and also to you that any citizen of this country has a right to raise questions about finances, about revenue, and even how the monies are spent in this country. We are here as servants of the people, and we ought to give an account to the people as to how monies are spent in this country. So in the first instance, how much is collected, how much is spent, and what it is spent on. Now, I will go further to say that indeed some of that is done during the budget debate when you get a glimpse as to what the government intends to collect in the ensuing financial year and what the government intends to spend. And if you look in what is referred to as the estimates, you also get an indication as to the actual amount received and the actual amount spent in the prior years. So yes, I do have a right to ask questions about monies, and I do ask such questions as to the state of the finances of the country. I suppose he wants to know if the answers have been forthcoming. I will be honest with you and say that there are times when I've raised questions and the answers are not forthcoming relative to the state of the finances of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Of course, as a member of a cabinet, one needs to know what the finances are in order to make decisions, if you are to make informed decisions as to what is to be spent, what isn't to be spent. For example, if you're going to pay a double salary to civil servants, it is important for you in making that decision to know what the state of the finances of the country are for you to be able to make what I would consider to be an intelligent decision based on that. You don't want to be in a position where you are making a decision and maybe it is politically expedient for you to do so, but then in January, February, March, April of the next year, the country is experiencing financial difficulties. And so, of course, these are questions that I raise. I can take it a little further because as members of the government, as members of cabinet, there are times when persons would come to us, ask us about getting on the STEP program. And when the government takes a policy decision that for persons, no one is being taken on the STEP program because you're regularizing it, and until that is completed, we don't intend to take on anyone. But then you see something differently taking place, because while you're saying to persons that this is the policy of the government, you see other persons hiring persons on the very same STEP program, and so you wonder what is really happening. Is it that things have changed? What are the finances of the country? Because apart from you saying that it is being regularized, you also hear about COVID, and that COVID has significantly affected the revenues of the country at the time. The same thing with the PAP program. You have constituents asking you about the PAP program. You ask them to go to complete the application. You send letters to the relevant ministry following up on the applications of these persons. And at the end of it, the persons aren't approved to be on the PAP program. However, you're told that because of finances, no one else is being taken on. You're told that an audit is going to be done because some persons are on the program who ought not to be on the program. But on the other hand, what do you see? You see other persons being taken on the PAP program, and when you ask how these persons get onto the program, you recognize that certain persons within government are able to add persons to the PAP program while you are not able to get persons on the PAP program. You have a similar situation. So you have PAP, you have STEP, and those two in particular, we have had issues with. You have also been told that government isn't hiring anyone because COVID has affected the finances of the country. And so you try your best in terms of trying to assist persons. Persons come to you. In some instances, you tell them, well, this is the articulated policy of the government. But then some of the very same persons who come to you, you see the persons being hired. There's absolutely no conversation with you as to, well, this individual has reached out to me, and what do you think about this individual being given an opportunity for being employed? And so when you see the same persons being hired, you wonder, well, what is the motive? Well, I'm not the Minister of Finance, and I am not the Minister of Human Resources. So it means that more than likely the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Human Resources had to approve those persons being hired. Even when you ask about PAP, you're being told that all new approvals for the PAP program must come from the Minister of Finance. So when you see persons being taken on the PAP program, when you're told that persons for the STEP program must be approved by the Minister of Finance, when you're told that no new persons are being hired, but you see the very same things happening, and you are unable to get assistance for those persons, then you wonder what the real story is, what the motive is. And so these are some of the issues that we have been having. If the finances of the country cannot support it, then tell us that the finances of the country cannot support it, but it cannot be that it cannot support it when it comes to Sean, it cannot support it when it comes to Jean, it cannot support it when it comes to Jonel, and it cannot support it when it comes to Lindsay, but it can support it when it comes to the Minister of Finance giving support to it. Something is wrong with that. And some persons do not like these answers, and they do not like us to speak about these things. But as I said, tonight this is a conversation with the people. And so the people must be told specifically what is happening. And these are issues I've raised at the very top level, and issues which I will continue to raise. The second question asked by Mr. Dupont is whether or not the Prime Minister ever apologized to me about the statement which was made by his guest speaker last year. Let me give us some history on that particular matter. And before I give the history on that particular matter, let me make it abundantly clear that in terms of the promise that Team Unity made to the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis about 2 terms for the Prime Minister, that issue isn't about Sean Richards. Because for me, somebody else can be the leader of PAM, anybody else can aspire to be Prime Minister. Sean doesn't necessarily have to be in Parliament or an elected member. But it is a promise that was made to the people. The people gave us a mandate based on that particular promise. And for me, it is a principled position. It is a principled position.
That I am committed to 2 terms in the office of the Prime Minister. 2 terms. And I will be very ready to support the Honorable Sean Richards, the leader of the People's Action Movement.
So let me make it abundantly clear.
for me, it is a principled position. So that if I'm out of government tomorrow, whether it is Lindsey Grant, whether it is John L. Powell, whether it is somebody from CCM, or even a killer from PLP, it is about keeping the promise. And the promise was about 2 terms. That's the first thing that I want to say. The second thing that I want to say is that when the lady would have made that statement, the Prime Minister called me. I think we were having our convention the following weekend. The Prime Minister called me the night before. He indicated he is attending PAM's convention. He intends to bring greetings as he has been asked to. He asked me, well, what are some of the issues that I think he needs to speak to? I said to the Prime Minister, COVID, very much amongst us, you need to speak about that. And I mentioned some other issues. I also said to him that in terms of what his guest speaker said about doing beyond the 2 terms, that issue is causing quite a bit of public chatter, and he needs to address it and address it publicly. The Prime Minister came to PAM's convention. He said absolutely nothing about it. At the end of the convention, the Prime Minister and I agreed that we are going to have a meeting to discuss a number of issues, including that one. When the first meeting was scheduled, he said to me that he cannot make the meeting because I think he had some other activities that day and he's feeling tired. I said, okay, no problem. A second meeting was scheduled, and again, some excuse was given as to why that second meeting cannot be held. Since then, I've reminded him that we need to meet, we need to have a discussion. No discussion has ever taken place. As recently as about, I think it was the Monday before PAM's convention, he and I had a meeting. And in that meeting, we discussed a number of issues, including that particular one. In response to me, he said that no media person ever asked him about it, and so he has had no reason to respond to it. The woman came, she said what she had to say, and even though she said that, that isn't necessarily his view, but nobody ever asked him about it publicly, so he has had no reason to respond to it publicly, etc., etc. So that basically represents my answer in response to that particular question posed by Mr. DuPont.
Well, the mic is still open for any other person who wants to ask a question.
Good night. Yeah, Spadaro here.
Say that again?
Spadaro here. Yeah. Spadaro. Yeah. Good night, everybody, and thanking you all to come to us in Challenges. It's overdue, but we welcome you all still. Well, first of all, I want to thank Mr. Grant for the facility here, because I was there when Austin Coker made the call when he was in England about getting this building here built, and he said just go to TDC and order what you need, and then I will deal with it when I come. So I want to say thanks again to Mr. Grant, because no matter what nobody say about Mr. Grant, as long as there's anything that need to do in this constituency and you go to him, he don't say no. He don't say no. You understand? He will tell you, tell me what you need and I'm going to get it done. I know for sure because I experience it. Now, the houses. We spoke about the houses many times, we promised, but as this one directed to Mr. Hamilton, because he was the Minister of Houses, basically, and we've been promising our people in Challenges before the election that you are going to get houses. First of all, excuse come that, you can't put them nowhere up there because we ain't got nowhere to put the water. And I said we got 3 gut, so which means the water could go to anywhere. Because I work public works, and I know we take water from Central Bank to down to Newtown. So not telling me that water can go nowhere to channel. because we know it's done. So I don't know what the hold up is for challengers to get some houses, because we need not 18 houses, we need about at least 150 houses, because that's the cry. You understand? That's the cry. Because me personally, I need none, but the young people are moving out of challengers and going other places to live because what? No house is building in here. And I don't like that. When I look around, I see a lot of old people around me, young people are gone in different constituencies go live. I not like that. So I want Mr. Hamilton to give his commitment. Tell us in 3 months if we're going to get some houses. I don't want to hear we're going to get houses, because I hear that 7 years ago, 8 years ago. So keep the promise. You might tell me, well, you're not Minister of Finance. I mean, fine enough. But I believe that we got the strongest part of this unity, which is 4. So if we got the strongest part, we're supposed to able enough to say, well, you got the O, but me got the 4. Fine enough. So, also, a next thing that I get from the ministers them is that they are not hiring people. But we are working, we need people badly, because people gone home and nobody come. One somebody come. One. And at least about 10 people gone or more. And nobody come in. I used to supervise a gang with 12 people. I only down to 5. Because who make 55, gone, some people stop, some dead. And we need people because what? This trade now coming on me. I supposed to be a supervisor. I don't, as a matter of fact, again, I'm carpenter per still, from since 2006. That in rectify, and we had 2 ministers from PAME who control roads. So that I brought to their attention already. That ain't delayed, no problem. But I'm telling you that I got to know, stop supervise, and go to actually do work to get things done. So it's less men, more work, save money. That need to be looked at. Bring in people. Don't tell me you bring people from a step, and when the step people then come, because Patrick Strait, and 4 of them come from your town, and they tell me now go out of town, go walk, you know. So stop our truck. We are heading to Cairn. Stop our truck, they jump off. So bring people who need work, mature people. Stop telling me about step people, them young workers. They want to work in the village where they could cut grass and go home. They want to travel out there, they want to learn a trade. And a trade, I tell you the truth, you know, a trade is very, very good. Because if you ain't got a trade, dark better you, because I go different countries, and sometimes when I go, I can't get out right away, but somebody wants something to do on their house, and they say, that fella down there trade, man. And I get to work. So people, young people, please pick up a trade, not just think about grass. So, also, Mr. Grant, I want you to push them as hard as you could. Because I know you could push. Because we need houses in challengers.
All right.
Thank you.
I just have one more question. The Honorable Sean would have alluded to something, and it kind of bugged my mind, because I remember the studio that's supposed to be in number 4. I actually interviewed the Honorable Grant about it. So I want to know how is that going? Because it will actually hurt me to know that we don't get that studio in number 4 and it go to any other constituency. I also mentioned that maybe Masood Sadiqi's name be mentioned as a part of this studio. So, Mr. Grant, I would love for you to elaborate on that studio that's supposed to be in number 4.
Thank you.
Good night to everybody,
Yes.
Mr. Grant and the rest of the team.
Good.
My name
Hello.
is Oren Hughes.
Oren?
Yes, Oren Hughes. For most persons who don't know me, I'm a building inspector, civil servant for the past 22 years. Mr. Grant, you know, why I came here. One, the things that you have been speaking about with respect to roads, housing, from where I sit with respect to the job that I hold in the Ministry of Sustainable Development, the roads in challenges, specifically Caribbean View, Stonefort Heights, Towian Heights. These developments have been passed or submitted to us, and I'm going to specifically speak to Towian Heights because it is very important for the Challengers people to understand that this development has many issues that we have pointed out. One, access to this development is an issue where the two accesses are at Happy Hill and over in Gums. They're not presently, as we sit here, accessible to two vehicular access. So it means, therefore, you'd have to take back people's land in order to accommodate access to that development. One. Two, whatever issue with the gums and accessing that aspect, that is one of the things. The other thing is the design of the Towian Heights, pointed out by us as technocrats, the roads are north and south, which means any speed of water coming off of those roads is going to flood Challengers Village. So we need to make sure that when these are being done, that they are engineered properly. Spadaro just spoke about it. We have Stonefort River, we have Molly's Gut. If we channel these water to go east or west, it would solve a lot of our problems. I'm going to speak specifically now to Caribbean View. Caribbean View has been recently, the roads have been cut. After 12 years, these lands were given out since 2010. The roads have just been cut last week. They're all dirt. And if you know the terrain of Challengers, any water that is coming off of there, it is going to affect Stonefort, Lower Stonefort. If we do not have these roads placed in immediately, and I hear you speak about next week, Stonefort is going to be bulldozed and what have you. I'm saying bulldozing is one thing. I live at Stonefort Heights Extension. That development was given out in 2004. That's 17 years ago. And to this day, only half of it has an infrastructure in terms of electricity and water. The roads are pure dirt. 17 years. Yes? So here is Labour administration, 20 years. Now, Unity, 7 years. 27 years, and Challengers is without a road. Old Road, Half a Tree, Boyd's, Sandy Point, all came after Challengers development was given out. And all of these development has been paved. So when you look at Boaks, when you look at Farms Meadows, when you look at Boyd's in terms of Garvey's, when you look at areas in terms of Half a Tree and Godwin Gut and the likes, what happened to Challengers? For me, you speak about housing and whatever. If I can't get access to the lands for which were given out, and I'm telling you, there are many approved joins over in Stonefort Heights, but the people cannot get to their lands because the roads are not cut.
Okay.
And so these are the issues that we here in Challengers are having. Yeah. Yes? So we need the roads to be cut and paved, not just cut, because I will tell you, Public Works has to be coming over there umpteen times. Because of the steepness of the roads, they're going to be dug out over and over and over and over again. So again, Mr. Grant, I've said this to you from your standpoint. I don't know how the Minister of Finance sees things, and from you guys who are sitting within the team are pushing to get these things done. But people cannot build, people cannot develop if they don't have access to their property, first and foremost.
Thank you, Owen.
All right?
I think I fully understand, and you properly explained it. You properly explained it.
I would hope that we would just not move from the chatter and action.
You properly explained it. Thank you.
Someone wants to know about Cross Old Road there, where they just do the new road. If that there is no proper sidewalk coming around to where the burying ground was. You know, the burying ground was around the corner there when you leave Old Road there coming around. Because they go walking and sometimes vehicle coming down and up, they got to scringe themselves up on the hill and find themselves sliding back down. So they want to know if Mr. Richards, Minister Richards, if he could do something about it to get a sidewalk around there. Thank you.
Talk. Gin, everybody talk about you. You're one man, Sean Richard. After God, it could be me. But nobody respect nothing. I must have moved to Gina one man. Oh yeah, a Gina one. Gina, I go work with you. But I can't push a Gina. Gina 1,000 people to about in a monkey. Why you kill green? Look me underwater. You talk about water, a nigga water. Me go we will go catch water in a can. I don't laugh, you know. Give me a serious man, me a die, you know. Gene know me. Gene is not fair, it's unfair. This is not welfare, it's unfair. It's unfair. Gene, they got Gene to kill. I talk to Gene very serious. I said, Gene, me got lots of problems too. Me train him in England, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Gene is not like that, you know. Sean, Grant, I say, you know. No smile, me orange. But you know.
Okay, okay, Henry. All right, good. I understand that. I got you.
You got me.
I got you.
Me want help you.
I got you. Thank you. I think we've got about 3 or 4 questions. We will provide answers as best we can, and then we will wrap up. I want then first to turn to Spadaro. Spadaro raised the question, what is the hold-up for the challengers' housing? But Spadaro, if you listen to Oren Hughes, you will understand what the significant problem is. Now, if the question is to me, I have responsibility over National Housing Corporation. National Housing Corporation, if it's going to build there, must have access. If you follow what Oren said. Now, land across there to get to that property at Town Heights, to get across that land is private land, so there's no access there. Wait just a minute. You asked the question, and the other area needs roads. Now, National Housing Corporation is not in a position to borrow money to build roads it cannot collect money back from. So the construction of roads and infrastructure has to come from either the sustainable development or through public infrastructure. And during the previous term, I don't think that any provision was made for that, or else the roads would have been built. I will hope, now we have Minister Richards, that there will be more focus on that, and we can get roads in that particular area if we want housing to be built at Town Heights. Either that or we have to do something else. But National Housing Corporation really cannot borrow money, which it has to repay to somebody who lend them, to build roads that they can't sell to get back money to pay the loan. It just cannot happen. So the road construction infrastructure has to come from elsewhere. And that may include having to buy private property, like the Gums property, to be able to get access. It's not an easy problem. But we have to find a solution around it, and we have to work on it. Yeah.
If you're aware that there was a bridge between Gums and Evelyn, and that bridge, they broke it down to accommodate the train when it was passing there. So which means that road, that bridge can go back in, because tractor used to run there and pass side and side, so which means we could get a road there and get the project going. And again, the people around here who live here knows it.
Again, I am not that kind of technical person. And the technical people in the ministry, one of whom spoke here a while ago, has indicated to you what the challenges are. And the challenges have got to be addressed differently to anything being done by NHC. So, we will address it in the future. I trust that your explanation, his explanation, and awareness has been made, has now been made so that everyone is aware of some of the challenges. The other question, of course, goes to Lindsay Grant, and the other to Bucky. What Bucky then? Something about studio info. You remember that? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, in response to the studio info, let me give you the history. When we came up with the idea for the studio for constituency number 4, we were thinking about the area just to the west of the Samuel Williams Sporting Complex. We had already begun the work. We had put down some concrete slabs. We had placed 2 containers there. And we were almost ready to go. In fact, we had procured the equipment for the studio. And all that we would have required at that time was the funding to build the housing for the studio. At that time, when we did it, it was going to cost somewhere in the region of $200,000 and something. Not much money in terms of the scheme for a studio. I'm not speaking about the equipment because we have already procured the equipment. I was talking about the building was going to cost somewhere in the region of $300,000. When we were ready to build now, and getting ready, trying to procure the funds, Sustainable Development came and said that in their whole master planning, that area was designated as a green area, and we could not then build the studio there. We then indicated to them, well, if that is the case, well, find an area for us to build on. They then found a piece of land or pieces of land at the top of the road where the Virchilds High School is. And they indicated that that area may have been used to house the music studio. In fact, one of the technocrats, Jay Farrier, went as far as plotting out the area, putting in some commercial developments and commercial areas of land, etc., including a provision for the music festival. The next step, as I said, so the land is there, the procurement of the equipment is there, and what we need now is the funding from the government to be able to build the studio. I've spoken to the Minister of Finance on several occasions about it. He knows of it. So I'm just waiting on the government to procure the funds, which is in the region of $300,000, so we can proceed to build this studio. I must say there's a wealth of talent, musical talent, in this constituency 4. a lot of young persons who really want this studio, and so we will do everything in our power to be able to, at the end of the day, build the studio. Safe to say, however, that all that is required is the funding from the government to build the studio. We have already procured the equipment costing us in the region of 100,000+ US dollars. All we're waiting for now is in the region of $300,000 to be able to build out the studio facilities.
Minister, sorry, Chair, go ahead.
On the question as to whether or not a sidewalk will be built to accommodate persons walking between the Old Road Bay and Stonefort community, I will have the engineers at Public Works look at it to make a determination on the feasibility of constructing the sidewalk. Owen raised a number of issues pertaining to development in the Challenges area. He indicated that he works at sustainable development. The fact is that when you have new developments in the country, if the area is designated by sustainable development itself has a responsibility for putting in some of the infrastructure in those developments. When a sustainable development designates an area for housing, the cutting of the roads in that particular development becomes the responsibility of a sustainable development. As a matter of fact, we have had quite a number of persons who have been to Skellig, for example, having built in a particular area and trying to get electricity in the area. That again, in the first instance, becomes the responsibility of sustainable development. Sustainable development has a responsibility to pay Skellig to put in the electrical infrastructure. Once sustainable pays, Skellig then installs the electrical infrastructure, and then persons are able to get electricity to their homes. Even at the water department, sometimes we have issues because when we attempt to put water into some of these new developments, unless we don't have a map from sustainable development with the layout of the area, it is difficult to put in the water pipes which are needed in order for persons to get water. You don't want to go and put in the pipes and then you end up putting pipes on persons' land, and then eventually you have to go and remove those pipes. Therefore, to a large extent, while he indicated that he works as sustainable development has some responsibility for the infrastructure in these particular developments. Therefore, to say that, for example, be it farm meadows, canyons, etc., that you have the infrastructure but not in particular areas in Challenges, it means that sustainable development has not paid Skellig or the necessary institution to put in the infrastructure. If the roads, for example, have not been cleared, sustainable development is actually the very same ministry that is responsible for clearing the roads. It is only after, in terms of actual paving of the roads, then Public Works has a responsibility to do so.
What you're saying, if I may, for instance, where I live does not belong to sustainable development. It belongs to NHC.
Then NHC likewise has a responsibility for the infrastructure in that particular area.
Yes, I understand that. And I'm going to just one little thing about just my personal experience. I bought my land in 2004, paid off for it in 2010, started billing. Yes? Started billing, and it took me an entire year to get electricity and water, having paid off for it in full, not owing NHC. I had to go to then Denison Paul, who was the water engineer, to indicate to him that I need water. My house was built, no electricity. I had to be heading water now to bill it. Right? 15 lengths of pipe 300 feet from the bottom where it was left, or from across the road where it was left. It is not even connected. And so soil, as it goes in, banks up. So in my house, sometimes because the water line ends off right next to me, yes, because the lack of the infrastructure that is not put in. And I say this to say this. If I, as a private person, owns a parcel of land and needs to develop it, the government says to me, I have to put in water, electricity, and road before 1 iota of land is sold. That is the policy from where I sit, and as 22 years, you know. I'm not talking about a year. 22 years I have been in government, in this said ministry, knowing all of this. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, sir, the issue that I have is that areas like where I am living, for example, the road stops right by me. Persons of upper side have drawings approved and cannot get to their lands. One gentleman came home wanting to get access to his land, and he has left 2 weeks now. Spent 2 weeks. He dealt with the others that he had, that his father left him, and the one that he wanted to get access to can't get access to it. Hold on. So the bulldozer for sustainable development was there 2 weeks ago, like I said. Cut the lands for Caribbean View. That is the said responsibility that the ministry has for Caribbean View. NHC has the responsibility for Stonefort Heights extension. Yes? So, this is what I'm saying. Based on the accessibility to people's property, what document? I have my documents, lady. Right? So, for me, sir, based on what you're saying in terms of the pavement of roads and what have you, Sustainable have paid for these developments. Why I could say this to you? East-West Farm, all the water infrastructure and partially electricity is in already because it had been paid for already. So too is Caribbean View. Why? Because it took 6 months in which to pay off for those lands by the owners. My sister owns one. It took them 6 months. You had to pay off for them within 6 months' time. So this is why I said this. The monies for which we have gained as a government and the infrastructure is not in for people to get access to build their properties. This is 12 years. Listen, Stonefort Heights was given out in 1997. Where did the road stop off? By Perry Peets.
Mr.
Hold on, sir.
No, but I think we have gotten the point. We have gotten the point.
You've gotten the point, yes,
no, but we have got no.
The answer that you're giving sounds as if like it's a sharp.
We have gotten the point. The fact is that there are several different issues pertaining to these developments. Part of it is, as I said, if it comes from Sustainable, Sustainable has a responsibility for the infrastructure. You mentioned in that particular case that it is NHC, and so NHC also has a responsibility in terms of the infrastructure. It is an ongoing issue that the government has to address, because sometimes it is that when an area has been distributed, maybe 2-3 persons pay off for it. When 2-3 persons pay off, those 2-3 persons are ready to build. But the cost of putting in the infrastructure happens to be very expensive, and so maybe the institution hasn't paid as yet to put in the infrastructure, and so it really becomes an inconvenience to persons who have built and who are ready to move on. The government has to look at perhaps some particular measure in order to move forward on this issue so that persons do not feel inconvenienced.
And I agree with you, sir. So here is my solution. As a building inspector, as somebody who knows about planning, when we are giving out these properties, my recommendation to the government is to have sections of it where it is paved and given a time period for which you have to pay for those lands, within whatever time frame. And so, hold on, why I say this, because you can create a situation within any development that the first section of it is for this amount of money because it is paved, all infrastructure is in. This section, it is going to be taken care of in the next whether 5, 10 years without what have you. And so this is why I said, these, for me, what we're happening throughout the entire length and breadth of St. Kitts.
All right, let me invite you. I think you said Oren. I like your recommendation. I would want you to put something in writing to me. And so we can make it some kind of policy. Look at it as a future policy.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, okay. Well, we have come, folks, to the end of this town hall meeting. And rather than have everyone speak again, Leader Sean, rather than have everyone speak again, I will call on the leader of the People's Action Movement to give the closing remarks, a closing wind-up, if you will.
No, voting remarks.
So just go to the vote of thanks? All right, well, we're changing the order here because they did tell me to have everyone give a wind-up. Well, right. So we'll have the vote of thanks. And the vote of thanks...
Before the vote of thanks, we have a raffle. So who's conducting the raffle?
Okay, so somebody will come and... I am advised that is a raffle. So I'll turn over to Ms. Drew.
Okay, good evening again. So persons who came early, they received a ticket. And so we're just giving away a little bit of love, a little something for coming early and participating. And so I'm going to, let me put them back in before you say cheat. So I'm just going to pull 2 persons' tickets, and those persons will win themselves something very small. Oh. Okay, Austin will pull. Come. Okay, the person with ticket number 544607. 544607. Okay, ticket number 544841. Okay, we have the person of Josette. She's our first winner. And Merle, who is our deputy chair, will bring a little token for Miss Josette. Austin, the last one. Let's go. The last one. Okay, and the last person is the person with ticket number 544601. 544601. Slathburn Camper. Okay, you have to show proof. 544601. Okay, and so we have our second winner in the person of Slave Camper. Sly, affectionately.
Well, we've come to the end. We can invite Mandisia to come and give us the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. I am here to simply say thank you. Thanks and praises to the Most High for allowing us to be here tonight. Thank you, PAM Executive, for starting this series of town hall meetings in Constituency 4, respectfully challengers. Head Table of Ministers, Party Deputy Chairman, thank you. The Chairman of tonight's proceedings, Minister Hamilton, thank you. We thank our prayer warrior for seeking our blessings tonight, Miss Gloria Masham. We wish to thank Pro Video Solutions, Sugar City FM, and Freedom FM for our media presence and video recordings tonight. To our caterers of our delicious snacks tonight, we thank you. To Valley's Tent Rental, our hard-working executive in number 4, our volunteers, thank you. To our listening audience via radio, Facebook, or YouTube, we thank you. To our live audience, we thank you. Constituency 4, challengers especially, we thank you for having us. And last but not least, our dear Minister, Lindsay Fitzpatrick Grant, we thank you for dedicating almost 25 years of your life to serving and representing the people of Constituency 4. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, members and friends of the People's Action Movement, don't say PAM, just say unity. Hell no!
East Bastia, are you ready for me? I will see to it that East Bastia must be counted. We will put on our hats and we will put on our walking shoes and touch every single household, every alleyway, hear from our people and let them know what we are about. Let them know what Natasha Gray Brooks is all about, putting people first.
Isaac Pam, Sean is my leader, and me ain't changing. I reaffirm my commitment to this great party, the People's Action Movement. I reaffirm my commitment to Team Unity, and I pledge to continue to keep the promises that I made. I don't care who they send in Central Bastia, Central Lock.
A convention to reflect, to think. Somebody said to talk the truth. Talk the truth. Talk the truth.
And I said to you, my brothers and sisters, my friends, my family of PAM, choose hope over despair. Choose unity over division. Choose inclusion over exclusion. Choose servant leadership over dictatorship. Choose integrity over dishonesty. Choose the People's Action Movement in this constituency.
I have seen this young man from humble beginnings in Sandy Point at work, both in opposition and in government.
And I say today with no fear of contradiction that Sean has kept the promise.
We have a leader in the Honorable Sean Richards. He held the fort, strong and fearless, when he stood alone in opposition in Parliament.
My one inspiration going forward is to ensure that the gains we have achieved over the last 7 years are consolidated, preserved, and built upon. We stand here today on a proud record in government. We have achieved many things in your name. We shall move forward and on our feet and not on our knees. We shall be fearless and we shall be feared.
We have been running the breakfast program for a number of years now. I'm here at the Tyrrell Williams Primary School. We also run our breakfast program at the Berkshires High School. In fact, on any given I'm really very happy that we could begin the process of starting back up the HARP program again, which is my homework and reading program in this constituency. We had decided to hold back a bit since COVID, and we've now begun the process of reviving it since we're getting better at the COVID. What it really is that it has now brought together over 50 young people from the community who need help with homework, who need help with reading, who need with math, and whatever the form is, to ensure that they keep current and really on top of their work. It's an excellent program. We have about 16 teachers who have come and volunteered to help these students. And so it's really heartwarming and heart-rendering to see the children coming out 3 days a week to enhance their skills at school, and which obviously will make a better community. So I want to thank all those teachers who have volunteered to give up their time and their energy without reward, but just to ensure that the community advances in a special way, and our students are on top when it comes to their work. So I want to thank them for that.
My name is Mendicia Mash. I'm the coordinator of the homework and reading program in the communities of challengers to New Guinea. Now, the purpose of the homework and reading program is basically to assist parents with their children at afternoon. Sometimes children have homework for days, and because the parents are so busy, they don't get the opportunity to help and assist their child with the homework. So this is where we come in, since it is our endeavor to have some of the most wonderful adults present to society when the time arrives. We have about 50 children and counting, and basically every day a parent call to sign up a child. I had one parent call today to sign up a 4-year-old to prepare for kindergarten because they find that enough is not being done and they don't have enough time. And the program is not just about academics. We include the sports, we include survival skill sets like fishing, agriculture, farming, computer, swimming. We have a whole line of activities and events planned for the children, and like I say, it's all just to help to mold them and bring them into some of the most wonderful people in the Caribbean. To be quite honest, I am very biased about this, and I want the children of Constituency 4 to be the best in the entire region. I'm very sorry, but that is exactly what it is for me.